Yo, this is SoulDrum86 bringing you another video. Today I'm going to be talking about the Saturday night's main event. This was an event that I was excited for. I've always been a big fan of Saturday night's main event. Not too long ago, if you've been subscribed to this channel for a while, I talked about how I've been watching the old ones. The first Saturday night's main event started before I was even born, but I was watching a lot of them, and I like the retro feel that last night had. Um, some of the matches were good. I did like Chelsea Green winning the women's United States Championship. I feel like she's probably one of the best uh, females on the roster. And it's not about the wrestling skill that I'm talking. And she's good, but I'm just saying, just in terms of her actually having a persona, her actually being a true professional wrestler. It's not just about the wrestling moves, something that I always preach about on my channel. But excuse me. But there's a lot of people that like Triple H's booking. I've said many times on this channel, Triple H has always been one of my favorite wrestlers growing up. I've always been a Triple H fan. Back when he was Hunter Hearst Helmsley, I like that gimmick. Of course, DX Triple H. And then, when he went solo or when he was just with China and all of that stuff, man, his whole career, I've always been a Triple H fan. Triple H needs to stop getting a pass on being like great. I'm actually happy that I'm starting to see more videos of people criticizing his booking because Triple H he ain't got it, bro. He doesn't have it at all. There's certain things that he does that is good, but a lot of it it's hit or miss. And I feel like it's miss a lot of the time for me personally. One of the mistakes I think happened last night, just for the whole night, is these clean finishes all the time. If you're telling stories in wrestling and you have the ability to have countouts, you have the ability for any other kind of disqualification, interference, using a foreign object, a count out that leads into a brawl or something. You have all of these things at your disposal, just at your disposal. Like, you have all of these different things that are tied into professional wrestling. And Triple H barely uses any of them. I can understand there was a moment in wrestling where it felt like Vince was doing the disqualification endings. A lot of people can make the argument they were happening a little bit too much. I can give you that to a certain degree. I can agree with that a little bit. However, to never see it when it can add to story more. You don't have to see a clean finish every single time, especially when it's coming from a heel. Doesn't have to be a clean finish. Have a guy get disqualified on purpose so he can still keep his title. Have a count out happen randomly, but it doesn't just end there. The fight continues, right? Have it get crazy. Be creative. And what I see now from wrestling is what I've always started. I've been saying this for, I think, years now, is that they're trying to turn it, if they haven't already, they're turning it into boxing and UFC, where there's a winner. Somebody's going to get a TKO, or it's going to be a unanimous decision or something like that. It's never it's never anything that is what we know of professional wrestling when it comes to these finishes and these matches. Mix it up a little bit. One of the things that I talked about when I was bringing up the fact that I was watching a lot of the old Saturday night's main events was every match was different. You had some matches that was a clean finish. You had matches that didn't even get a chance to truly start because there was a brawl that took place, or there was a disqualification in one match. There was a count out in one match. Um, but the fact of the matter is, every match was different. There was a different outcome because it either added to a story or it finished the story. That's what wrestling is supposed to be about. But instead, you have a main event last night where Kevin Owens gets pinned, and that's it. Why even have that? Why even have that happen if this is going to continue? I'm not saying Kevin Owens should have won the championship, but why does that match last night have to be a clean, just 1, 2, 3 finish? I know Cody, did his Cody Cutter, or not the Cody Cutter, but for blanking what his finishing move is called. But I know he did his finisher on the Kevin Owens on the chair while the referee was knocked out, and then the referee gets up and counts from outside of the ring or whatever. But nonetheless, the referee didn't see that take place, so it was pretty much a clean finish. It was no DQ, nothing like that. So that's my first issue with last night, is that, again, there's no variation in the matches that we have in WWE anymore. It's these men and women are going to get in the ring for about 15 to 20 minutes or so, and it's going to be a 1, 2, 3 finish, 1, 2, 3 count, or somebody's going to submit, and then that's it. That's what you can typically expect. Triple H does not know how to, he doesn't know how to create surprise at all. He doesn't know how to think outside of the box. He really doesn't. And then, so outside of every match being like, your typical clean finish match, no DQs, no countouts, nothing to add on to a story for a story to continue. They were just matches last night, to be honest with you. It was just matches. The only thing that was really different last night was the triple threat match with Gunther, Damian Priest, and Finn Balor. And that was a match that just, for me, it was okay. But that was the only one that had any kind of difference to it. You had, 4 title matches. You had the World Heavyweight Championship was on the line in the triple threat. Undisputed was on the line in the main event. And the Women's World Championship was on the line. And then of course, Chelsea Green won the United States Championship last night. So out of those matches, the vast majority of it was championship matches. So again, here we are. I said this in the previous video when I talked about there being too many titles. As much as I love the fact that Chelsea Green is champion, this is way too many championships. This is just overkill at this point. You literally have it to where, because Triple H doesn't like to do 6, 7, or even 8 matches on any given night, every single match is going to involve fighting for the championship of some sort. So when the Intercontinental Women's Championship comes about, it's going to be the same thing. I don't think that there's enough events in WWE to be able to have all of these championships matter or count. I don't think that's I mean, seriously, I don't think that there's enough. And which brings me to my next point, and probably my last point before I end this video. No tag team matches on a special night. Again, this was a special night. This is bringing back an event that has been away from WWE for a long time. And you come back and there is no tag team match whatsoever. None. Triple H, does he even care about tag team wrestling? Now, it's interesting because I watched a video a while ago, and I want to say it was, there's a YouTube channel. It's like Technical Work Rate. I believe that's what it's called. It's these 2 guys. They do a podcast, and they talk about the good, but they mostly talk about the bad of today's wrestling, and they talk about Triple H a lot. And they were mentioning how a lot of people will bring up, because I've even had these questions. Even my wife, she doesn't even watch wrestling. She had this question of like, well, then how was Triple H so good when he was doing the NXT back in the day, the black and gold NXT? On the podcast that I was listening to, they made a good point. They said it was because of who Triple H had with him, saying, pretty much alluding to the fact that the old NXT was good, not really because of Triple H. It was because of William Regal and like everybody else who he had working on his team then, is what made NXT Black and Gold so good, because it was good. NXT was really good. And a part of me needs to kind of maybe go back and watch some of it to see if, like, man, was it all hype, or like, was it really that good? I mean, I remember it being good, but when I look at what's happening now, I'm like, dude, this is rough. Like, like wrestling right now is pretty rough, man. Yeah, Triple H, he ain't got it at all. Um, it's just, I don't know. Again, I like the retroness of yesterday. Um, they use the old turnbuckles. Um, I didn't like the fact that they still use the LED ring post and the ring skirt. I didn't think that they were going to do that. I thought they were going to actually have like the whole thing look old school. I love the entrance, how close the fans were to the wrestlers coming out. They were able to touch them just like back in the day. And you had the heels actually like moving away, or if they did get touched, they kind of like, they did kind of like a gesture of like, don't touch me, blah, blah, blah. Like, it was, that stuff felt very old school. I did love that. I think even Drew McIntyre did that on his way to the ring when he was coming out. But and I love that they played the old theme song to Saturday Night's Main Event. I thought that was cool. Jesse the Body Ventura being back was awesome. But yeah, just overall though, it was just your typical night of wrestling without promos and backstage interviews, which they failed on, because if you're gonna do a retro night of Saturday Night's Main Event, right? Because Saturday Night's Main Event is back now. They're gonna have 4 of them per year. So to celebrate the old school by doing everything that they did last night, they failed to do any backstage promos. They failed to do any backstage promos, man. Like, you've got to add that stuff in there. I actually miss that. I don't know. I just want wrestling to feel like wrestling again. I don't want it to feel like, okay, these are guys that, I mean, barely any of them have wrestling names anymore anyway. I don't want it to feel like they're trying to make this into like a serious sport. I want to see character. I want to get emotionally invested in what they're doing in the ring. But in order for that to happen, you've got to have things like promos. You've got to, just, I don't know. It just would have been nice to have a nice feel of some real nostalgia last night. Would have been awesome. And that's with not having the dumbass LED boards on the ring post. I can't stand it, dude. It's an eyesore. It's been since they've added it, and I've never gotten used to it. I just think that is way too much, way too overproduced. Does not need to be there. Just looks ugly. It really does. I hate that this video is so negative, but it is literally how I feel. I appreciate. Oh, I love the red, white, and blue ropes being back. I don't see any problem with like not having red, white, and blue ropes anymore. After seeing that last night, I don't know why that can't be a staple. the all white is just too bland. If you're gonna do anything, at least go back to like Raw having the red ropes and SmackDown having the blue ropes. But if you're just gonna do the all white ropes, that's just ill. Like, do red, white, and blue, man. It looks good still to this day. I just don't understand why it can't be a thing that they go back to. I'm just saying. And it's a small little detail. It's not important, but it's just something that I've always liked growing up. Um, I was mad when they first went to all red ropes. So this ain't nothing new for me. Like in the Attitude Era, when they went to all red ropes for Raw, it took me a little bit to get used to that. But then it started looking okay. But I do love the red, white, and blue ropes. Let me see. Uh, I think I pretty much covered everything. Yeah, man, Triple H is he's got to do better. He's really got to do better. Um, Start caring about tag team wrestling. They're missing from a lot of these. They're missing from a lot of events. The tag teams, man. Like you'll see them on Raw, you'll see them on SmackDown, but they're missing on a lot of PLEs, and I really didn't expect there to be no tag team matches last night for Saturday night's main event because back in the day there was a tag team match on every Saturday night's main event. I remember it was like the Funk Brothers versus Jesse the Body and Rowdy Piper, and I think that was the first Saturday night's main event. And I want to say the next one, the tag team match was Iron Sheik, Nikolai Volkov versus the Bulldogs. So it's like I just don't know what Triple H is doing half of the time, man. I really don't. I just and this is it sucks to say this because Triple H really is one of my favorite wrestlers of all time. Like he's in my top 10. 'Cause I don't think he makes my top 5, but he's in my top 10 favorite wrestlers of all time. I was always a big fan of Triple H, whether he was a babyface or a heel. Um, Always loved him, but Triple H being in charge, he ain't got it. He just doesn't have it. I don't think he really understands about making wrestling a show. Um, yeah, he ain't got it. He ain't got it, man. It's even I don't know. I'm gonna make people mad with saying what I was getting ready to say. You know what? Forget it. It's hard to right now believe that Triple H is even better than Vince at his worst before Vince, Vince on his way out pretty much. Because it was pretty bad. Vince was putting on the same matches week after week. There was even a report that said because of like, I don't know if it was like his old age, he was actually forgetting what matches he was setting up. And that's why he kept doing like rematch after rematch after rematch. That got like a little crazy, but it's like Vince understood things that Triple H's direction. I don't get it. I don't understand it. I feel like he should know better because he comes from wrestling when wrestling was like at its best. He comes from that era, and it's very puzzling. Like, dude, what are you doing with the tag team division? How are you going to handle all of these different titles that are coming to the company now? Like, how are you going to do this? We've got PLEs and big night events where every match or almost every match is going to be a title match. So then that leaves no room for any other matches that just involve a story that's going on, right? Like it's weird. It's weird, man. But that's my 2 cents on Saturday night's main event. If you guys disagree, look, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It's just how I feel, man. I have to be this critical because I'm just going based off of what I want to see out of wrestling. What I want to see out of wrestling, what you guys may want to see out of wrestling is completely different. And I gotta judge based off of what I personally want to see out of the product, and I'm just not getting that, right? So it is what it is, man. I hope you guys enjoy yourself. I hope you guys got to the end of this video, and if you did, I appreciate you, man. Leave a like, comment, subscribe. Let me know how you feel, if you agree, if you disagree. What are some points that I may have missed? But yeah, this your boy Soul Drum 86, and I'm out. Peace.